Hi, I'm Adam Hanneth, Client Relationship Director at Buddy CRM, and today I wanted to give you a brief tour and discussion around the subject of why CRM has become even more important in a post-COVID world, and kind of share some of the experiences that we've seen over the last year, experiencing obviously in the CRM industry. Now, firstly, I think one of the things that has become really apparent is the need for working from home and having displaced staff in general. This has really become apparent when we're looking at sharing information or a business trying to operate as effectively as they did previously, where they were all within turning, shouting distance across offices as they were before. And what I've noticed through speaking with many businesses in many different industries is the challenge that they've had of finding what is actually going on in their business on a daily basis. Obviously, lots of businesses kind of stopped for several months as the first lockdown happened. This gave businesses a renewed kind of interest into how could they start selling again once things picked back up, and therefore the renewed sight over how to manage those teams was really brought into focus. A lot of the businesses that I deal with, especially on the SME side of the scale, are still utilising Excel spreadsheets, even just communication, just having conversations with people. And this was becoming increasingly difficult to actually manage because there wasn't a physical interaction, they weren't tangible anymore, they weren't actually able to see each other. So a lot of businesses have started opening up to the idea of having a CRM, and CRM is there so you have one customer view, you have an idea and an understanding of what is going on, whether it be a prospect or a customer, what is going on with them within your business. Many people, many departments discuss, interact with that, let's call it a record or a person. They'll interact with them at different times. And we need to know what the full picture is. Financial is one part, communicating is one part, sales side is one part, the customer service is another part. All of that builds up to a full understanding of what the relationship is. And whilst before I think sometimes some businesses saw CRM as a nice to have, it's now become a must have, where we don't know what the future is going to have for the rest of us. We don't know whether or not we're going to go into several more lockdowns. We don't know what's going to be the future for business, but what we do know is that if you have the correct tools to your disposal, you've got the ability to manage with that as best as you can. Now, because staff have been dispersed and they are all over the country in a lot of senses, even if they're in the same city but they're actually working from home, there is a requirement to bring them all into one place. But obviously every other business now has got fully on board with Zoom, Teams, Meets, whatever it might be, as a tool to allow them to communicate with the client. There needs to be a really good understanding and a process to be able to capture what is going on. So time isn't spent overly on micromanaging the people by having to speak with them about every single task they've done that day. At the end of the day, having to have laborious spreadsheets filled out by salespeople. I've been there before at a previous business I've worked for, having to fill out spreadsheet after spreadsheet after spreadsheet, and it really detracts from what your actual job is. And from a MD, sales director position, it detracts from making money. So ultimately the CRM comes into play to allow businesses to have that one central understanding of what is going on with the client at one time. And the reporting side of it really helps businesses understand what is going on a daily basis, what is coming in, what is currently being managed through opportunities, through the pipeline, and what is the potential for that coming in. So when a manager wants to then engage with the sales team rather than micromanage them, they can have conversations about what they want to discuss because they're already aware of the high level information. Now, to businesses out there that haven't used CRM before and are scared of the concept or confused with the concept of CRM, it is a tool, and ours is cloud, so it means it can just be accessed via a web browser or a mobile phone anywhere in the world, as long as you've got the credentials to do so. But it gives the ability to, as I said before, communicate about what's going on with a prospect or a customer, but allow the individual to do their daily actions. They don't have to think really about anybody else, they just do what they normally do. It allows them to manage their days going forward and their communication with the prospects and customers. But on top of that, it allows management to secure reporting, which will save them time in understanding the big picture. And this is really, really crucial for businesses. And I think sometimes it's one of the things that are overlooked when CRMs are thought about. They are obviously thinking about the users, they're thinking about the people on a daily basis, but of course, managers should be also engaged fully within the CRM, and that benefit is also huge for the board, for the sales directors as well, to understand what is going on at any one point. It's also a really good management tool. It allows you to understand what is best practice in your sales team. Whether you've got 2 salespeople or you've got 50, best practice is always obviously the best thing to do. So allowing you to very easily understand what needs to happen to get the good level of sales at the end of the sales process allows you to then help the next crop of salespeople that are coming through the ranks, or even the ones that have been there a long time who aren't performing. It allows you to align them with best practice. It doesn't have to be detailed, it doesn't have to be too much information, but there will be something that individuals do in your business that allows them to be a success. That can be then replicated for other people, and it can basically, it means that you can find it. You can understand what is best practice in your business. Now, all of this is what businesses do anyway on a daily basis, whether it's by having a conversation at the end of the day, having someone fill out a spreadsheet, just hoping that they are doing their right job. But when you are bringing in a tool that is specifically looking to help, it's helping the salespeople, it's helping the directors, it's helping the owners of the business, it does bring a cultural shift. And that's one of the big things with having a CRM brought into a business. It allows people to understand that you're not playing. You're not playing business. You are serious about what you want to do and you want to improve. I think, again, one of the biggest misconceptions with CRMs is that it's a big brother tool. It is just there to kick people out of the business. In actual fact, it's the opposite. It's there to maintain and retain more staff than if you didn't have one, because when staff aren't performing, you can find out why. And what are their issues or their problem areas, and how can you, as a manager, manage them better and allow them to perform to their optimum, to their best of their ability. Without a CRM, you're really guessing. You're either thinking they can't do something, maybe thinking that they're not great at closing, they're not great at getting through the door when they're cold calling, they're not great at relationship building, they're not great at time management, they're not great at... You are guessing, unfortunately, when you don't have the tools or the data to your advantage. And this is, again, another thing which CRM has come into, and it has played a massive part. We're working with lots of different businesses all around the world, and we've worked with a lot of businesses recently who are 40, 50-year-old sales organisations who have now decided that they must look at a CRM, and that's because of COVID. The pause in understanding what's going on in their business has made them realise that this could happen again. It doesn't have to be COVID related, it could be anything could happen, but that they are at risk, and they have the potential to just miss a huge chunk of what they could do because they just aren't prepared for that to happen. Now, businesses have had CRMs for years now. You know, the industry is 20, 30 years old now, so it's not purely based off the fact that there's been a virus that's gone around the world and that's why CRM was invented. It's always been there. It's always served a benefit for organisations that have decided that they wish to be organised and streamlined as best as they can. The businesses can be streamlined and organised to a point in traditional senses with data management, staff management, etc. But it gets to a point when you really do need the support of software or a tool such as a CRM to help you move on to the next step. And one of the things that we've understood since COVID has happened is there's a difference between thriving, there's a difference between surviving, and businesses that don't have a good awareness of what is going on in their business at the granular detail, at the coalface, as you would say, they are surviving. They're just hoping that business will happen. They're hoping that people will pick up the phone. They're hoping that their traditional ways of marketing will continue to work and will bring in the sales. Organisations that have invested into CRMs and other tools to ensure they are in the picture, they are aware of what is going on in their business and what isn't going on, are taking the bull by the horns. They are the ones that will go above their competitors. They will thrive. They will succeed they will grow obviously in a even a difficult time such as we're in at the moment. And we've seen this. We've seen a real big surge in sales since COVID, and that obviously is because businesses have had that realigned understanding that they need to be on top of things. Now, also, some other things to think about is staff training. So allowing people to follow a particular ethos, a particular way that your business wants to operate is also another good reason to have a CRM in the business. And that's something else that we've seen a lot of other businesses where they've, again, realised that because they don't have a CRM and their staff are now dispersed, where they used to be centralised in an office where they could manage that culture, they could manage the conversation, they could manage the output. That's now not as easy because it's simply just going out over email, Zooms, phone calls, as opposed to actually seeing the output that's going out. Having a CRM allows you to manage that process, manage the way that you wish for the discussions and the output and the message of your business to go out there. And we've seen that also a lot with businesses recently, that they want to ensure that their message is getting out there to the best quality as they can. And obviously with businesses that are buying at the moment, they are also in a very competitive market that everything is in now. They are also looking for that element of quality, stability, the same message that's coming out that gives them the confidence to buy from you. And even if they have multiple people from within your business contacting them, because the CRM allows for all of the communication, whether it's whatever department, all to be captured. The conversations that are happening with the customers or the prospects are consistent. The consistent message, there's a consistent tonality, there's a consistent ethos that can be brought through. And that is really important to businesses, because there's a reason why businesses are either successful or going that way. It's because they're doing something right, but you need to maintain that throughout the business, throughout the department. And again, CRMs allow businesses to do that where staff are not all together now. And I think that is, again, just for me, the end of this talk. So obviously this was just a brief, just kind of conversation, just something to get people thinking who haven't got a CRM at the moment, who are thinking about it and thinking, why do we need to do it? It's a cost. Yes, it is a cost. It is an investment, but the return on investment is apparent. It is really quick to acquire. There are many CRMs out there in the world. There's some very, very big, worldwide known brand names, and there are some organisations like ourselves who are independently owned, based in the UK, who have a real one-to-one interaction with clients, who are looking at trying to allow businesses who have suffered or at least struggled through COVID because they haven't had a CRM in place. There has been a dispersal of staff. There has been an issue with communication and trying to get that communication to be standardised. We are helping businesses left, right, and centre in bringing their business communications up to scratch, bringing a CRM into the business, but then implementing it in the right way. Really important that businesses that are looking at CRM do have an organisation that is very, very much focused on the implementation, the training, the support, ongoing. This is not a silver bullet, I'm afraid. It's not just going to change or make your business a success overnight because you've bought one. There's an engagement from your staff. There's an engagement, obviously, with your staff, with customers that needs to go into it. And there's obviously integrations that can happen with things like accounts packages, marketing solutions that will ensure that you're getting the most out of it. But we are there to guide, support, and help businesses in getting the most out of that. So I'd say to any businesses at the moment who have struggled through COVID, who have realised that there's a lot of management that needs to happen, it's just not possible in the traditional ways, CRM should be an option for you. If you're selling a product, a service, you have customers, you have prospects, it doesn't even matter whether it's for profit or not for profit. If there is a base, a customer base, a prospect base, and you have staff, then a CRM really should be something that you look to go for, because it will support your business through this difficult time. It will make more sense to your organisation and the wider scale of what's going on right now. So If that is of interest to you, so this was just a very brief discussion to show you what is potentially an issue for businesses. You may not have even known there's an issue until I've just mentioned this, but if that has become an issue, then reach out to us, and of course reach out to any of the CRM providers as well, but reach out to ourselves, because we hold our values very, very strongly about the support of businesses, especially ones that, well, not especially, but even more so for businesses that have never had a CRM. There's such a big cultural shift for your people to move into one. You really do need a supportive supplier, and that is something that we pride ourselves on. We've got a mountain of referral businesses who are happy to talk to prospective clients, because we've worked with them for either a long time or just started working with them. We follow through on those promises to make sure that you guys get what you need, and that it will benefit you. There has to be a return on investment for your CRM. If there isn't, don't buy one. But there should be if you are selling something and you have staff and you have communications. So I hope that's been helpful, just to bring out some thoughts. And if so, please reach out. You'll have my contact details on the platform, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.